Got it. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Speed Museum, Grawemeyer Awards. Test. 1, 2. Test. 1, 2. All right. Thank you.
Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2, hey, hey, check, check, 1, 2, hey, hey, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2, hey, hey, hey.
mic check. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2026 Grawemeyer Awards. You good? Okay. Mic's off.
Well, we follow each other on Blue Sky. I try not to. Yes, you probably spend way more time with them than me. Because every time I go there, there's all Frank's review, but I'm not there. And many times I'm there and I'm just reading and not. I'm on sabbatical this year. But I did sometimes when I was delivering English, probably told you before. Sometimes we were just talking about I also heard Jesus is weird. No confirmation. How do your colleagues feel about it? Was I sort of vlogging here back in like 2003? My colleagues had no idea. I mean, sort of vlogging on my own as I sort of jumped in and I got hired for like
If you'll please take your seats, I think we're about ready for the program. If you'll please take your seats, I think we're about ready for the program. I think most people are seated. I've got a script here, but it occurs to me that you have no idea who I am. My name is John. Before I read the script, my name is John Foray. I am the executive director of the Grawemeyer Awards, and I am delighted that you're here tonight. So, here we go. Good evening, Grawemeyer Award recipients and guests, University of Louisville leaders, faculty, staff, students, alumni, community partners, and friends. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the 2026
Grawemeyer Awards celebration. This week offers a remarkable series of events featuring our winners, and we are delighted that you are celebrating with us this evening. I would like to thank the Grawemeyer family for their continued support of these awards. The family has been steadfast partners in supporting these awards over the years. Now, where is he? Oh, there he is. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jerry Bradley, the 20th president of the University of Louisville. Please join me in welcoming President Bradley to the stage.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. What people don't know about John is he's a very humble person, as you can imagine, because of the way he talks. But John has been a faculty member. He's been, I believe, a department chair and an interim dean at A&S. And so his contribution to this university is amazing. So, John, thank you for this role. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and members of the University of Louisville community, good evening and welcome to this extraordinary celebration of the Grawemeyer Awards, among the most prestigious honors in higher education and beyond. Our vision statement talks about this is where excellence and opportunity converge. And it's to drive health and societal health outcomes. And I would argue tonight is a reflection of that vision because of the vision of one man, Charles Grawemeyer, who created this award so that we would have an opportunity to be here to celebrate amazing people for their contributions to what they've done to their specific areas. And so it's a privilege to gather here at the University of Louisville. I think, I believe, and I'm so rewarded every day, but this is a place where innovation, discovery, and academic excellence flourish. Tonight, we come to celebrate those awardees tonight for their achievements and the lasting impact that they have made to our world. The Grawemeyer Awards was established by Charles H. Grawemeyer, were created with a bold vision to honor and elevate ideas with power to transform lives and improve the human condition. Presented in music, political science, psychology, education, and religion. These awards celebrate groundbreaking work. These are not pieces of work. These are groundbreaking work that challenges assumptions, expands knowledge, and inspires generations to come. And we all know we need people like that we need to have our students model themselves on. As we honor the accomplishments of these awardees tonight, I encourage you all to engage with these amazing people. We had a wonderful night last night where I got an opportunity to speak to a number of the awardees. And again, I always feel humbled. When I leave this event, I feel, my gosh, I'm in the room of greats, because it's amazing what these people have accomplished. And so I hope you have the opportunity to talk to those folks, because they're here to spend a week, essentially, talking to our faculty, our students, and inspiring them. So on behalf of the University of Louisville, for being a part of this memorable occasion, thank you all for being here. And now it's my great pleasure, my distinct pleasure, to introduce the Reverend Dr. Andrew David Pomerville, President of the Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary, who is, thankfully, I'm not a person I'm not following, because he's the most amazing, inspirational speakers. So with that, I'm going to hand over to my good friend, Andrew Pomerville.
Although when someone says you're a great speaker right before you go speak, there's nothing worse than that. That's setting you up for failure. Folks, I appreciate the words of President Bradley, and thank you for continuing to host this outstanding event and for allowing all of us from Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary not just to participate in this amazing opportunity, but to truly be here to celebrate what the Grawemeyer Awards are here to not only do, but what we stand for, especially during these times. The idea that great ideas are shared and then put off into the world, not just for academics to study in our ivory towers and in our wonderful academic settings, but to go into the world to make a difference, and to do so in a way that unite communities, to teach us that we have opportunities to use the great intellect that we have, the gifts that we've been asked to steward for the world, to share with others in order to make our communities that much more peaceful, that much more loving, that much more graceful, that much more than what they were before we received them. I know all of us in this room probably come from a variety of faith traditions and experiences. And at Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary, we value that diversity of thought and experience of the divine. And so while we come here today to give thanks for what we have seen and read and felt, I also ask you to pause and think of all of those who have made this possible. Certainly the many teachers, mentors, parents, friends, and family who have guided our award winners, but also those who have helped each of us to be in the privileged position to enjoy this wonderful meal tonight, the conversations that we have, and to be inspired to leave this place and do something with it. And so I'd invite you, if you're the praying type, to pray with me. If you're the silent type, be silent. And whatever we do, let us reflect and go from this place trusting that there is something on the other side that might be better than even what we've seen tonight. Let us take this moment together. We pause in hope and peace and truly expectation for what we are about to hear, see, and do. As we break bread, share a cup, and wonder together about what the world might be for our children and grandchildren, for our neighbors and even our enemies, we wonder together, inspired by great ideas, by minds who challenge us to ask new questions, and by people who have used what they have to inspire us and inspire the world. Let us be thankful and live in a moment of gratitude as we truly enjoy this space. And let us continue to enjoy a partnership not just between this award and the schools, and the winners, and the committees, and the faculty and students, but here in our city, let us be thankful that we are able to do this and see that we are here together. And for that, let us rejoice. In peace, hope, and love, we gather here and we pray with these in our hearts. Amen. And now, folks, I've been asked to let you know you are welcome to enjoy the meal in front of you.
I'm gonna turn the mic off.
Did you get mine?
Where is it? Is it?
It's on the top.
Well, I mean, where's the
It's right there. You'll sit to the left of the blue snack.
if I can get you a salad. That was Sunday.
Friends, if you would pay attention to the screen, we would like to start the program with a video.
Why do we need to think big? The world is at an inflection point. Legacy ideas are not the solution.
Change the world or have an impact on people are interconnected.
We've got to come together and bring our collective imagination to make this world a better place.
The Grawemeyer Awards, all 5 of them, bring real distinction to the University of Louisville.
Charlie Grawemeyer was an engineer turned investor, and he wanted to give back to the world, and he wanted to give back to U of L, where he'd gone to school. What he did was kind of think outside his sphere. He wanted to recognize ideas that had world-changing potential. That's what he cared about.
Whether we're thinking about education or political science with world order, whether we're thinking about music, I think there's a core around what does it mean to be human, and I think there's a core around what are big ideas that can change the world.
This is an award that highlights ideas that are accessible to everybody.
It's one of the only awards I know in academics that actually has the finalists chosen by the general public.
And so it's this very well-rounded concept where it's backed by the academics or the professionals, I guess, so to speak, and selected by the lay people. The works that are selected kind of appeal to both ends of those spectrums.
When these people talk about their journey and their life and their achievements, and you just feel very humble to be around them. It just energizes us. You know, it gives us a sense of what is possible.
The value in having the Grawemeyer Award winners come to campus is we establish connections with faculty, but I think the major benefit is for students because they are being able to have personal contact with people who have done very good work.
My favorite always is to meet with students. There is just incredible trust that gets developed in that short time, and really deep exchanges happen. These are the moments of shared humanity.
Universities are the place where a lot of that scholarship is developed. So I see us as connected by sharing a site of idea generation.
It's important to honor new ideas. Ideas have made tremendous impacts on how we have educated our population. Universities are really where the ideas of the Grawemeyer Award are going to flourish.
I feel like we've set a ship afloat here, and it's going on its own steam now, and it seems like the community and the university have taken it over, and I'm as interested in watching it sail as I know you are.
Why wouldn't you honor the people who are coming up with some of the most important ideas of our generation or of our time or of this day? They are inspiring us to be our best. These are the people that we should recognize, and that's what Grawemeyer does. We extend our sincere thanks to Christina Lee Brown and Owsley Brown III for their generous support for the Grawemeyer Awards, including the creation of this video. We also thank Stephen Curtis and the Curtis Creative Team for their outstanding production work. Thanks also go to Louisville Public Media for promoting this year's award winners. Charles Grawemeyer established the Grawemeyer Awards at the University of Louisville in 1984. As President Bradley mentioned, these awards honor bold ideas in music composition, world order, education, religion, and psychology. Ideas that strive to make the world a better place. In just a moment, you'll hear from each of our faculty directors and their award winners. Mr. Grawemeyer believed that for an idea to have true impact, it must be accessible not only to scholars, but also to the broader public. That's why the final selection of award winners is made by committees of lay panelists. These community members are not necessarily professionals in their fields, but they bring deep appreciation and considerable judgment to these subjects. If you served as a lay panelist or in any role supporting the selection of these awards, would you please stand? Thank you for your invaluable contributions. And now we begin our awards presentations, starting with music composition.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Ertz. I am the music librarian and assistant director of the Dwight Anderson Memorial Music Library here at the University of Louisville, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of being the faculty director for the Grawemeyer Award for Music Composition. Preserving Grawemeyer's big idea, this inspiring series of awards with a most unique selection process and continuing its legacy is an important task, not only for the university, but more importantly for the world at large, seeking change, innovation, and to celebrate the human spirit. The piece that has been selected this year, A Sutured World, is a work composed by Lisa Lim and commissioned by the Musica Viva Festival and the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra, the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra, the Amsterdam Cello Biennale, and the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, and the Casa da Musica. It was first performed at the Musica Viva Festival in Munich by the world-class cellist and the works dedicatee Nicola Altstedt, conducted by Edward Gardner with the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra. This concerto explores themes of unity and healing through a variety of inspirations, including Buddhist sutras, the Japanese art of kintsugi, and certainly Altstedt's remarkable expressivity and technique. Casting the soloist as a sort of healer and storyteller, weaving through the orchestral textures with his stunning and virtuosic passages, the work asks, how does light arrive in the world? The composer found many answers from many poets and surely has her own ideas. But personally, I find this light, our spark, our value, our merit, through our stories. The stories and histories told in the Buddhist sutras, for example, the stories told through our scars, embracing them, learning from them rather than concealing them, like the gold lacquer that illuminates the cracks in pottery in the art of kintsugi. Our wounds and our stories speak volumes about us as individuals, as communities, as a species. They should be listened to very closely. We should be grateful that we can survive these wounds with the talents of our healers, the power of ideas, the persistence and wisdom of our storytellers, so that spark, the potential of every single human spirit that is and will be, can learn, experience, contribute, and thrive. Lisa Lim is the 38th recipient of this award and the second Australian to receive it, followed by the 2009 laureate Brett Dean, and she is only the 6th woman to receive it in the award's 41-year history. Notably, she is the 3rd woman in the last 5 years to receive it, as the Music Award has seen a substantial rise in nominations of compositions by women since 2021, rising to over 30%. This fact can, why not? Yeah. This fact can probably be attributed to the considerable efforts and encouragement of a great many people and organizations, including Lisa Lim, through her very successful Composing Women program, which advocates for women in this profession through a variety of avenues. This program and these organizations include people who are listening to the scars of our past, reading, learning, and growing from our histories. Having been a great admirer of Lisa Lim's music for the past 20 plus years, and with her being one of the most celebrated and thought-provoking composers, educators, and scholars in recent memory, I can easily say that having her here is an incredible honor. As she fills in the remainder of this week in Louisville with her lectures and lessons with students here at U of L, I am certain that all of the students will be left with one of the most impactful experiences in their collegiate careers. Please join me in welcoming the Grawemeyer Awards 2026 recipient for music, Lisa Lim. Lisa, congratulations.
What an inspiring evening. Thank you so much, Matt, and for that warm introduction. Also to John. Let me just find my notes on this phone. You know, this is the modern note. Oh, it's a real pleasure to be here in Louisville and to experience your wonderful culture of hospitality. I'm deeply honored and actually a bit amazed to be awarded this Grawemeyer Award in music composition. Since my student days, the Grawemeyer Award has really occupied this mythic place in the music field, so it's a true joy to be here. So my heartfelt thanks to the University of Louisville, especially Matt Ertz and his team. My thanks to the Grawemeyer family and everyone who sustains the generous spirit of these awards. I'm really touched to meet members of the lay jury, these wonderful listeners. I've also been reflecting on how the long-term legacy of the work that's been done here continues to ripple outward. And again, it was very inspiring to visit the corridor with all the photographs of past winners and see mine there as well. As a student, I vividly remember the thrill of hearing broadcasts on Australian radio, ABC radio, of Grawemeyer winning works. So in particular, in 1989, Chinnery Ung's work, he won for a composition called Inner Voices. And then the following year, Joan Tower with her work, Silver Ladders. And listening to those works, one by a Cambodian composer, one by an American female composer, quietly but decisively rearranged my sense of what contemporary music can be, and importantly, who might belong within this field. So to be a musician is to be part of an ecology, or actually several interconnected ecologies that shape how we find our way and what becomes possible. On the paths of possibility, I want to acknowledge my teachers and mentors, and I particularly want to name my high school music teacher, Ros McMillan, who played a work by the 1992 Grawemeyer Award winner, Penderecki, at my very first composition music class. It was a piece called Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima, which really opened up a whole world for me. I want to thank my parents and my family, my husband, Daryl, and son, Raf, who sadly couldn't be here. I want to thank my academic family at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music at the University of Sydney, who've been an enormous support over the years. And of course, huge thanks to my musical family. So my piece, A Sutured World, came about because the cellist, Nicholas Alstedt, heard some of my music on French radio. Again, it shows the power of radio. And so as a result, it was commissioned by a number of really spectacularly important and incredible orchestras that Matt already mentioned, the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra, the Concertgebouw Orchestra, Amsterdam Cello Biennale, Casa de Musica in Porto, where I was composer in residence last year, and then also I held that position last year in my own hometown with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. So huge thanks to them. And I'd also like to thank BR Classic, which was the CD label that put out this recording. It really is a very sumptuous recording, so I hope you can hear it. So yeah, I mean, that's a few ecologies, that's a few villages there. What is music composition? And one answer might be an invitation to listen. The arts invite us to notice how we are being woven, and ourselves we are weaving stories with the wider world. Music, of course, is an art form that invites us to listen in a particularly special way, to listen not only for sound, but also relation, to listen for vitality. And, you know, one of the humbling things about being a composer is that it's the listener who completes the circuit of meaning. And that's really highlighted by the Grawemeyer jury process. So I find that very, very moving. You know, one puts work out there, but the meaning only truly comes alive with the listener. They are the necessary partner that completes and renews the art. And I think that co-creative relationship shows how we all matter. Our presence counts, our listening counts in the world. I actually recently received an email out of the blue from a listener I've never met, responding to this cello concerto, and I'd like to quote from that email, and I have his permission to do so. So he wrote, "I work at a hospital in the med-surg ICU and ER in Southern California. And perhaps because of that, I'm always drawn to forms of art that do not look away from damage. In medicine, one sees very quickly that healing is rarely simple. It is often partial, scarred, patient, and deeply human. That is one reason why your work resonates with me. It feels like it understands that repair is not the erasure of suffering, but the shaping of something truthful after it." So that was a very wonderful message to get, and I hope it does resonate with you. So, you know, to the young composers, I met wonderful students at the School of Music in the last days, and actually this is for any musician out there. You never know who'll be listening. Could be a cellist in Berlin, someone working in a hospital emergency department, lovely people in Louisville. It's a diverse world. Keep making that invitation to listen. An ongoing question for me is, how can we hold the dark and the light together in a paradoxical relation? How do we move beyond polarized thinking and cycles of backlash? How can we hold wild, multiple clashing energies in more vitalizing and generative ways? A Sutured World, this cello concerto, calls for a world sewn together by acts of repair, reciprocity, imagination, and play. There may be scars, but we can make them into something illuminated. Through creativity, through listening, we can find paths towards shared resonance. Thank you so much for this honor.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Charles Ziegler, and I'm the faculty director for the World Order Award. I can proudly say I've been in on it since the beginning when Charlie Grawemeyer met with us in Ford Hall sometime back in the mid-1980s, and have seen it from a number of perspectives as a member of the committee and the department, chair of the department, and for the past 15 years as faculty director. That's what happens when you stick around for a long time. In his Grawemeyer Award-winning book, States in Nature, The Effects of Climate Change on Security, Dr. Joshua Busby explains how the combination of state capacity, political exclusion, and international assistance determine the degree to which the impacts of climate change affect security broadly defined for a country's citizens. The scientific consensus is that climate change is real, notwithstanding some deniers, and the effects of climate change pose serious challenges for human security worldwide. However, as Dr. Busby demonstrates in his book, certain states handle these challenges better than others. Busby's method of paired comparisons, where two states face similar climate hazards, yet manage to achieve quite different outcomes, yield results with real-world implications for policymakers. Busby finds that countries having weak government capacity, those whose political institutions exclude some people from power, and those where foreign assistance is blocked or delivered to some groups and not others, are likely to have worse outcomes. These states experience more severe humanitarian emergencies and higher levels of violent conflict. While their more open counterparts, countries that use government bureaucracy more effectively, have leaders that welcome broader input from the public, and those that welcome international assistance perform better in reacting to climate change disasters. The distinguished international jury for world order said of Busby's work, quote, "The book is creative in its conceptualization of how climate change influences governments and methodical in its marshaling of evidence." And I should note that the international jury is just one of many stages in the review process, which takes about a year. I send all the entries out for a couple of peer reviews from top experts. The department committee goes over them, then the international jury, and then finally the lay committee that Charlie Grawemeyer stipulated because he wanted the award, the ideas to be intelligible to the average educated lay person. So this book, States and Nature, provides us with a hopeful perspective on what is otherwise a rather bleak situation, the impact of excessive hydrocarbon consumption on vulnerable societies. Busby demonstrates that the worst impacts of climate change can be mitigated through domestic and international actions to address these threats to human security. These insights clearly deserve the Grawemeyer Award for Ideas Improving World Order. Now, Dr. Joshua Busby is currently Professor of Public Affairs at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas, Austin. He's also a distinguished scholar at the Strauss Center, non-resident fellow at the Center for Climate with the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, and senior research fellow at the Center for Climate and Security. In 2021 to 23, he served as senior advisor for climate at the U.S. Department of Defense. His work on climate change, global health, transnational advocacy movements, and U.S. foreign policy has been published in the very top-ranked journals in the field and by leading think tanks. He's written 2 other books, including Moral Movements and Foreign Policy, and AIDS Drugs for All, Social Movements and Market Transformations, the latter winning the APSA Prize, Don K. Price Award in 2014. Dr. Busby was one of the lead researchers on a 5-year project funded by the Department of Defense entitled Climate Change and African Political Stability, and the principal investigator of another DoD-funded project, Complex Emergencies and Political Stability in Asia. He's also a life member of the Council on Foreign Relations in New York. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Joshua Busby.
delighted to be here. Thanks so much to the Grawemeyer Selection Committee and the University of Louisville for this award and for the ideas in my book, States in Nature. I'm thrilled and humbled to be in such august company of current and previous winners. I want to thank my wife, Bethany, for coming today. Your support in writing this book meant and means so much, and I'm so happy you were able to make the trip. I started writing about the connections between climate change and security more than 20 years ago, somewhat by accident. I was finishing my dissertation on transnational advocacy movements at Georgetown University and was lucky to be selected for a predoctoral fellowship at the Brookings Institution. And while there, a colleague and I were asked to write about climate change and security for then UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. And that changed the direction of my professional trajectory thereafter. I went on to write extensively on how climate change was affecting US national security, both for think tanks and academic audiences, including 2 projects that you heard about on Africa and Asia, funded by the US Department of Defense. Most of my work mapped hotspots of climate security vulnerability at the subnational level, bringing together diverse indicators of climate risks, population, resilience at the community level, and governance. We mapped where climate change was likely going to have the gravest security impacts, which included, but was not limited to, violent conflict. As in my book, I made the case that the risk of large-scale loss of life during humanitarian emergencies elevated problems from being just public policy issues to being national security risks. Now, the motivation for this book came out of a methodological critique by the scholar Mark Levy, who said previous case studies in an earlier literature were limited to single cases where environmental degradation led to violence. And he noted that the absence of paired cases of countries facing similar environmental exposure but with different security outcomes meant it was really impossible to say when environmental degradation led to negative security outcomes and when it did not. So in my book, I paired cases from different countries facing similar climate exposure but with different security outcomes. So why did you get famine after drought in Somalia, but not neighboring Ethiopia? Why did you get a civil war in Syria after drought, but not neighboring Lebanon? And why did you get large-scale loss of life in Myanmar after a severe cyclone, but not neighboring Bangladesh and India? The exploration of these cases led to my synoptic argument in the book that emphasized the importance of state capacity, political inclusion, and foreign assistance. And as you heard in the introduction from Dr. Ziegler, that the findings provide us with some cautious optimism that countries can develop state capacity to prevent climate hazards from leading to the worst effects. And I also showed how outside assistance could help even relatively poor countries like Bangladesh to build focused hazard-specific capacity, forecasting systems to anticipate when storms would come, early warning systems to notify people when to get out of harm's way, and purpose-built cyclone shelters so that they had places to go to. And that's allowed countries like Bangladesh, which lost as many as 140,000 people to severe cyclones as recently as 1991, to hardly anybody dying now when severe cyclones present themselves. Now, just as this book was being published, I had the good fortune to join the Biden administration from 2021 to 2023, where I served as a senior climate advisor at the US Department of Defense. Among my various duties was integrating climate change into the National Defense Strategy. But since I wrote the book, the global momentum to address climate change has stalled, in no small part due to the political developments here in the United States. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the more recent war in Iran have also distracted global leaders from the threat of climate change, which worsens by the day as attention has lapsed. But both of these wars have links and importance to climate concerns, as these conflicts have underscored the risk of dependence on fossil fuels. It is not an accident in my mind that one of the countries best positioned to profit from the Iran war is China, which has gone further than other countries to electrify through investments in renewables, battery storage, and electric vehicles. The United States, for its part, is resisting the tide of global energy and transportation markets by insisting that 19th and 20th century fossil energy sources will power the country. In my mind, that's a bad bet and is akin to an effort by horse and buggy makers to prevent the rise of the automobile. The direction of travel is clear. The most successful economies of the 21st century will increasingly electrify more sectors, including transportation, and power those systems chiefly with renewables backed by battery storage. A United States that seeks to hold the line on fossil fuels will be poorer for it and find its military and economic advantages over China dissipate further. A United States that pursues this approach will also take the pressure off China to come to grips with its own pollution from the burning of coal, which continues to dominate China's energy production even as it transitions to renewables. So, despite the political setbacks in the United States and globally, I am convinced that the conversation will and must turn if we are to have any chance of preventing runaway climate change. That realization has accelerated my commitment to keep writing in this space, with my efforts increasingly dedicated to more public-facing communication. So last year I did a TEDx talk on climate and security, and I've just put the finishing touches on an audiobook version of this book, which will come out soon. And as I reflect on my life to date, I think back to my experience in college at the University of North Carolina in the late 1980s, where I was an environmental activist. And I periodically think about my younger self and whether or not he would be proud of the person I am today. And I'd like to think that the 18-year-old me would be proud of the work that I've done, but I want him to remain proud. So this award is recognition that my work has had meaning, but importantly, I think the visibility of the award will allow me to keep finding an audience. So thank you for the support, and I hope I am and remain worthy of your esteem. Thanks so much.
Hello and welcome. My name is Brendan Depew. I'm the current director of the Grawemeyer Award in Psychology. It was interesting tonight, me just sitting back, because this evening is only once a year, and how wonderful it is to sit here and celebrate these wonderful ideas. It really is a special evening, and I'm not a super nostalgic person, but it really is wonderful to sit here and think of how we can come together over these great ideas. As we all know, the Grawemeyer Award was created in the late 80s by Charles Grawemeyer, a successful business person and University of Louisville alum, whose goal was to make the world a better place. So I am pleased to introduce the winner of the 2026 Grawemeyer Award in Psychology, Sir Simon Baron-Cohen. He's a professor in the departments of psychology and psychiatry at the University of Cambridge, and the director of the Autism Research Center. In 2017, Dr. Baron-Cohen was invited by the United Nations to give a keynote lecture on Autism Acceptance Day. He described how autistic people are excluded from many basic human rights. These include the right to education, health services, dignity, and employment. Importantly, he was also knighted in 2021 for services to autism. In the Grawemeyer Award tradition, Sir Simon Baron-Cohen has had a profound impact on autism research over the last 40 years, formulating influential theories regarding autism and the biological mechanisms. Some of these examples include theory of mind, first proposed in 1985, suggests that social differences in autism may arise from differences in attributing mental states to others or reading of the mind. Empathizing and systematizing theory points or posits that humans vary on two dimensions: empathy, the drive to understand emotion, and systematizing, the drive to understand rule-based systems. Differences in autism can be seen as being more high or more relegated to systematizing. The prenatal sex steroid theory This theory considers the non-genetic potential causes of autism. Autism may be a type of neurodiversity that we see within the general population, and the brains of individuals with autism develop differently, starting prenatally. Importantly, he has also developed widely used assessment tools and advocated for clinical and social support for autistic individuals. His work has shaped how researchers and clinicians understand the condition. He has used his platform to advocate for the rights and well-being of autistic people. He also promotes the neurodiversity movement, which I explained before, emphasizing that autism individuals have both disabilities as well as unique strengths, such as strong attention to detail and pattern recognition skills. In this manner, I think of no one better to give the award to this year than Sir Simon Baron-Cohen, as it directly aligns with the vision of Charles Grawemeyer to give an award that is not solely for one's accolades, but rather an idea that reaches not only the scientific community, but also society at large, and to use these great ideas to simply help one another. Please help me in congratulating Sir Simon Baron-Cohen, the winner of this year's Grawemeyer Award in Psychology. Oh yeah, picture first, sorry.
So it's a great pleasure for me to be here, and I'll keep my speech brief because it's that time of the evening. But I want to start by thanking my partner who's here. We've come all the way from the UK for this very special event, Mary Henderson. I want to also thank you, Brendan, so Dr. Brendan Depew, who has made our visit so hospitable, such fun, and I've just enjoyed creating a new friendship, so thank you very much. The campus is beautiful. It's my first time here in Newville, and the president, Jerry, it's been fun to get to know you too. I want to also give my congratulations to the other awardees, because I've been listening to your work, and it really is inspiring to be in your company. And I gather, and maybe not everyone realizes this, but I learned it tonight, that the Grawemeyer gift to the university also supports scholarships for undergraduate students, and I had the pleasure of meeting one tonight. So congratulations to the scholars too. So I want to say thank you to the Grawemeyer Committee for this wonderful award. I'm honoured to receive it on behalf of the team of researchers in Cambridge University where I work, and our collaborators internationally. But our work very much is teamwork. It depends on talented graduate students and postdocs who all work very hard to make exciting discoveries. So I'm just here almost as their spokesperson. I want to thank our funders who enable this work. Some of you who work in the sciences know that science is expensive, and sometimes obtaining funding for new ideas is harder because the process of science can be very cautious, very incremental, and very conservative. So an award like this is celebrating new ideas, which I'm very grateful for. My next thank you is to the autism community. So, as Brendan mentioned, I've worked in the field of autism for 40 years in research. I'm also a clinical psychologist, so I've worked with autistic people and their families. But for autism research to happen, we need the inclusion of autistic people. And many autistic people have helped us in different ways. One way is through community engagement. So when we are thinking about a new research project, the first thing we do is to talk to autistic people to get their input, because by co-designing research projects with the people that we're studying, the projects become richer. They bring a different kind of expertise, lived experience, and joining that together with academic expertise just enriches the projects. Receiving an award like this shines a light on autistic people, and without wanting to turn such a wonderful evening like this into a note of gloom, we should remember that autistic people, many of them struggle without good quality support services for their disabilities, and many of them do not fulfill their potential because the education system, high schools, even universities, or the workplace is not yet designed to be autism friendly. And as a result, their strengths, which Brendan mentioned, autistic people do not just have disabilities, they also have differences, and many of those differences are strengths or even talents. They don't often get an opportunity to shine. And that's a loss for our society. It's a loss for them, but it's also a loss for us, because they have a valuable contribution to make. So I want to use this platform to call for better support services for autistic people and their families. My last thanks is to the Grawemeyer Committee for the award, recognizing our work that over several decades was seen as very left field, but is now well established and mainstream. So it's very interesting when you honor an idea. Ideas have to start from somewhere, and they're often viewed with skepticism. In my case, the idea that was part of the nomination was that prenatal sex steroid hormones like testosterone and estrogen may play a small part in the cause of this neurodevelopmental disability. It was seen for many decades as marginal and didn't fit with the mainstream, but today, 20 years later, has been widely replicated and is now accepted and generating a lot more research. So, and that's just an example of the journey that ideas often have to make. They start in the darkness and they end up in the light as more evidence, particularly in the sciences, is accumulated. So the award that's given tonight, recognition of new ideas, big ideas, plays a vital role in driving progress academically and particularly in the sciences. So thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Tyler Mayfield, and I am the A.B. Rhodes Professor of Old Testament at Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary, and also the Faculty Director of the Grawemeyer Award in Religion. It's a true joy this evening to introduce Dr. Canada Moss, our 2026 Grawemeyer winner in Religion, for the ideas presented in her book, God's Ghostwriters, Enslaved Christians and the Making of the Bible. Dr. Moss is our 34th winner of the Religion Award since the award was first given in 1990. And if you're trying to do the math there were a few years when the Religion Award was not awarded. 34th winner, she joins a list of esteemed religious scholars and authors, including Diana Eck, James Kugel, Chief Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, novelist Marilyn Robinson, Eboo Patel, and others. Dr. Moss's book, God's Ghostwriters, continues her research in the areas of ancient history, early Christianity, and the New Testament, especially with regard to the topics of disability, enslavement, and other questions to do with marginalized groups. Consider this example from Dr. Moss's book. In the final chapter of the Apostle Paul's letter to the Romans in the New Testament, we read this startling sentence: I, Tertius, the writer of this letter, greet you in the Lord. Who is Tertius? Furthermore, why is he calling himself the writer of the letter when we know from history and tradition that Paul wrote this letter that becomes a theological masterpiece? What is going on here? God's ghostwriters argues that the arduous work of scribes, secretaries, and copyists in the ancient Roman society was the undervalued work of enslaved people. Moss suggests that Tertius is one of the tens of thousands of erudite enslaved people who acted as stenographers, transcribed ideas, and edited the documentary output of the Roman world. These enslaved collaborators played a significant role in producing some of the early manuscripts of the Bible, yet their contributions have been largely overlooked throughout the centuries. Canada Moss is the Edward Cadbury Professor of Theology at the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom, and a research associate at the Institute for the Study of the Ancient World at New York University. She was born in London, graduated from the University of Oxford, and received advanced degrees from Yale University. Prior to taking up her chair at the University of Birmingham, she taught at the University of Notre Dame. She is the author of 7 books. Her first book, The Other Christs, Imitating Jesus and Ancient Christian Ideologies of Martyrdom, was the winner of the 2011 John Templeton Award for Theological Promise. In addition to her academic books and articles, she writes a column for National Geographic. She's contributed to the LA Times, BBC, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post. She's also a frequent contributor to CBS News as a papal news correspondent. Moss concludes her book with a discussion of the implications of a Bible that is co-authored, copied, and interpreted by anonymous enslaved people. I quote, "The fact of enslaved collaborators' contributions to the New Testament does not bankrupt the Bible, even for those who think that it is divinely inspired scripture that speaks across time. Human beings have always been involved in the production of these texts. Their fingerprints are there even if they are invisible to the naked eye. That some of these fingerprints belong to enslaved workers may complicate our account of how the Bible came to be, but it does not divest it of meaning. On the contrary, if authors are important for our interpretations of the New Testament, then accepting the role of workers can broaden out our ability to speak about what the Bible meant in the past, and for those who hold it as sacred, what it means in the present. Centering enslavement is the story of the creation of the New Testament, challenges us to rethink our ideas of how our own world is organized, whom we see and whom we do not, whom we credit and whom we overlook. This is truly a book worthy of the Grawemeyer Award, and we are delighted to celebrate its author tonight. So please join me in the celebration of the 2026 Grawemeyer winner in religion, Dr. Canada Moss.
I am never taking this off. I have to confess that I am simultaneously experiencing two things: enormous gratitude and a sense of honor to join these awardees and to speak here with all of you, and enormous imposter syndrome. Because I'm up here with three such distinguished and remarkable human beings. And to make matters worse, I did not write a speech. My book is about invisible labor and uncredited labor, the way that enslaved and formerly enslaved people contributed to some of the most important texts in human history. And with that in mind, you can imagine that I probably have some thanks of my own to give. I will try to make this as quick as possible and as interesting as I can. I was educated in England, as you learned, and I am grateful to my, what you would call here, high school religious studies teacher, Dr. Kenneth Wolfe, who got me interested in the Bible. And I'm grateful that I lived in a country that at the time allowed people like me to go to university for free. So all of the Grawemeyer money that goes to help scholarships, I myself might have benefited from in a different world. Were it not for that, I think that my mother, who raised me almost alone, having never finished even school herself, I'm not sure she would have been into this theology thing, were it not for that free degree. I think she might have wanted me to be a lawyer, although were she here today, I think she might be quite proud and think that it had worked out. I'd like to thank my other teachers, Sue Gillingham at Oxford, and particularly Harry Attridge and Adela Collins at Yale, who stuck with me when it was not at all apparent that I was going to end up one day on a stage like this. I would like to thank everyone at the press, my editor, Alex Littlefield, every assistant and proofreader, from the most illustrious worker at Hachette to those who worked in the book distribution center in Lebanon, Indiana, in the Hachette factory. I know that my book would not exist without all of them, and I know that they caught numerous mistakes. I'd like to thank my agent, Roger Freet, who was my friend for 15 years and believed in this book from the beginning. He sadly passed away last year, and I really wished when Tyler had called me to tell me about this award that I had been able to tell him about it. He would have been very proud. I had, is that like my Oscar music? I had numerous friends and conversation partners who helped me with this book, particularly as it was written during the pandemic. Particularly want to single out Jeremiah Coogan, my best friend Megan, and those who shared their work with me, including Chris Keith, who is here, who shared his work even though it wasn't published. It's that kind of collaboration that makes our field worthwhile. I would also like to thank my husband, Justin, and our sons, Max and Luke. They did not help at all. But it's going to be awkward if they ever see a video of this and I didn't thank them. And I do love them very much. Finally, I have one last unusual debt that I need to acknowledge. The Romans often referred to their enslaved workers as body parts. Thus, secretaries became hands, manual laborers became legs. This somewhat hideous viewpoint, which explains why we cannot see enslaved and formerly enslaved workers in our ancient literature, has a particular resonance for me because I myself benefit from the body part-like labor of another. I received a kidney transplant when I was getting my PhD at Yale from my uncle, and he would be mortified that I am bringing this up now. Nevertheless, here we are. And it is not only me who accepts this Grawemeyer Award, it is also him. I have smuggled in another, a 36th winner of the Grawemeyer Award in Religion. It is certainly true that every moment of joy and accomplishment that I have experienced since that day has transpired only because he was willing to risk his life for mine. Tertius, who you just heard about, was not always invisible to us. In the 14th century, manuscripts of the Epistle to the Romans titled the text as the Epistle to the Romans, written by Paul through Tertius. We live in a particular moment that is fixated on individual accomplishment, on the role of CEOs, of authors like myself. But I represent the labor of so many others, and I would invite us to think that just as in the 14th century, people could see the labor of Tertius, we too can create a world where we acknowledge the labor of others. Thank you so much.
Wow. Congratulations to all of our winners. Please join me in giving them another round of applause. I would also like to thank Billy Potts in the Office of the Provost, as well as Sarah Neff, Stephanie Rybert, and Kelsey Gooden in the Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement Department. Their dedication and hard work over the past months have been instrumental in making the Grawemeyer Awards a success, and that is an understatement. Early next week, you will receive a commemorative email and with a recap, a video recording with photographs. If you miss any of this week's public talks by our award winners, they will be available online soon. Before saying goodnight, I would like to ask all of the award winners to join me on the stage for a group photograph, so don't take off. And then let me just say this, we hope you enjoy this week's celebrations. Thank you for joining us tonight. I wish you a wonderful evening. Good night.